Welcome to Lesson 3 of Basic Management 101, Planning and Goal Setting. I intend to cover the overview of goals and plans, goals in the organization, criteria for effective goals, planning types and their models, planning time horizon, organizational responsibility for planning, and barriers to organizational planning. And then once we finish this lesson, we will move into our next lesson, which will be another building block onto the planning, and that is called what I call strategizing. So lesson 3 will be on planning, lesson 4 will be on strategizing. It is written that the man who builds his house on sand will lose that house before he has a chance to use it. But the wise man who builds his house on the rock knows that the rain can come down, the streams can rise, and the winds can blow and beat against that house, yet it will not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. And we can look at planning as the foundation and the rock of management. Planning is the process of establishing goals and objectives and figuring out how to reach them. A goal can be considered a high-level objective, and an objective is a sub-goal. Planning is important because it leads to improved productivity and performance. Both observation and research indicate that planning is often beneficial to organizations. It is important to emphasize that planning is often contained in other managerial activities as well. Planning is the most controversial management function and starts with a goal. A goal is defined as a desired future state the organization attempts to realize. Goals are important because they define the purpose of an organization. Goals specify future ends. A plan is defined as a blueprint or plan for goal achievement. Plans specify necessary resource allocations, schedules, tasks, and other actions. Plans specify today's means. Albert Einstein said, "It is impossible to solve significant problems using the same level of knowledge that created them." And also when planning, we cannot use the Christopher Columbus school of planning. And by that I mean, when he left, he didn't know where he was going. When he got there, he didn't know where he was. And when he got back, he couldn't tell you where he had been. Planning is considered the most important part of management since everything starts with a plan. A plan is a blueprint for goal achievement and specifies the necessary resource allocation, schedules, tasks, and other actions. The term planning usually incorporates both ideas and means, determining the organization's goals and defining the means for achieving them. Setting goals starts with top management. The planning process begins with a mission statement. The mission states the organization's reason for existence, the basic business purpose. Mission statements often focus on items such as market and customers, desired types of activities, corporate values, aspirations, and reason for being, product quality, location of facilities, and attitude toward employees. From the mission statement, everyone knows the purpose of the company, including the board of directors, employees, customers, suppliers, stockholders, and the public. Goals and plans can be established at 3 different levels. They can be established at the strategic level, the tactical level, and the operational level. Strategic goals are broad statements describing where the organization wants to be in the future. Strategic goals pertain to entire organizations rather than to a specific division or department. Strategic planning tends to be long-term, and may define organizational actions from 2 to 5 years into the future. Tactical goals define specific results for major divisions and departments within the organization to achieve. Tactical objectives describe what major subunits must do for the organization to achieve overall goals. And tactical plans define what the major departments and organization subunits will do to implement the strategic plan. And so in this we are looking about a year or so out. Operational goals define specific results expected from departments, work groups, and individuals. The operational plan is the department's manager's tool for the daily and weekly operation. However, it should be noted in recent years, strategic goals have now been placed only 2 to 3 years out because of the rapid changes in technology. And the tactical goals sometimes only go 6 months out for the same reason. However, the day-to-day operation still remains the same. Now, goal characteristics pertain to organizational goals at the strategic, tactical, and operational levels and should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. I like to call these SMART goals. So you should remember that SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. When we say that SMART goals are specific, we're saying that general and vague goals are unacceptable. When we say that they're measurable, can you tell when you have met your goals? When we say they're attainable, we do this because unrealistic goals cause a feeling of failure. We also say that our SMART goals are relevant. Your goals must relate to what you want out of the organization or out of life. What is relevant for others may not be appropriate for you and your organization. And we need to be able to track them. Can you observe your goals being achieved? Is there a feeling of accomplishment as you progress? Remember, SMART goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. Now, there are several planning types and models, and I know you've heard many of these. There is procedures, which is a planning model or type, operational plans, action plans, contingency plans, standing plans, policies, rules, management by objectives, quantitative plans, business plans, and strategic plans. Procedures are considered plans because they establish a customary method of handling future activities. They state the specific manner in which a certain activity must be accomplished. Operating plans involve running the activities of the firm. A helpful statement is, operating plans involve organizational efficiency, doing things right, whereas strategic plans involve effectiveness, doing the right things. An action plan defines the course of action needed to achieve the stated objective. Action plans are made for both individuals and for departments. A periodic progress review is important to ensure action plans are working. A sample of an action plan is a performance standard or a plan with employee objectives, a performance evaluation. An alternative plan to be used if the original plan cannot be implemented is called a contingency plan. A disaster plan is considered a contingency plan due to the fact that it establishes an alternative protocol for a hospital, for example, during a mass casualty, or during an unforeseen disaster, or a plane crash, or a flood, or a fire. Standing plans provide guidance for tasks performed repeatedly within the organization. Major standing plans are organizational policies, rules, and procedures. TQM is total quality management, and CQI is continuous quality improvement. These are examples of a standing plan for a hospital or an office, and they are used to improve quality and production. Policies are general guidelines to follow in making decisions and taking action. They are therefore plans. Policies are developed to support strategic plans in every area of the organization. A rule is a specific course of action or conduct that must be followed. It is the simplest type of plan. Rules should fit a strategic plan, such as a non-smoking rule, fitting the overall plan of creating a healthful environment for your employees. A managerial process whereby organizational purposes are diagnosed and met by superiors and subordinates, joining in the pursuit of agreed goals and objectives which are specific, measurable, time-bounded, and joined in action plans or business plans is considered management by objectives. Progress and goal assignments are measured and monitored in appraisal sessions which center on mutually determined objectives and standards of performance. Quantitative planning involves using historical data or productive models. Two popular quantitative techniques are time series analysis and linear regression. A methodology used to predict what will be the best strategies for a business to take in the future using all of the existing planning tools and an emphasis on quantitative planning in order to forecast economic growth, business activities, sales, and technological forecast is considered a business plan. A business plan is based on sound business principles and good common sense. As we said before, strategic plans are master plans that shape the destiny of the firm. A related concept is strategy, a comprehensive program for achieving an organizational goals and objectives, and thus achieving its mission. A strategy is also an overall plan. Now, all planning must have a framework, and the framework of planning is very specific. You must first of all establish goals and objectives. Then you must define the present situation. Then you must forecast aids and barriers to the goals and objectives. You must then develop action plans to reach goals and objectives. You have to develop budgets, implement the plan, control the plan, and then you have to have feedback once again to make sure the plan is functioning the way we want it to. Benjamin Franklin's grandfather said, "Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because the bathwater's dirty." In other words, many times when we go through our framework of planning, we use the evaluation and feedback process to tweak the plan and make it better than what it was before. I like to think of thinking strategically in an organization. And the best way to think strategically in the organization is to use what I call the CST. And the CST is the common sense test. If it does not make good common sense, then the chances are it does not make good business sense. And you and your organization should not be doing it. Planning involves time horizons. Now, time horizons are long-term, intermediate, and short-term. A long-term planning includes strategic goals and plans, and they may extend over 5 years, but as I said recently, Some are only going as far as 2 to 3 years. Intermediate term planning includes tactical objectives and may have time horizons of 1 to 2 years. But once again, as technology changes so rapidly, many times the intermediate plans only go 3 to 6 months out. Now, short-term planning includes the operational objective for departments and individuals and has a time horizon of less than 1 year. A major problem in many companies today is the emphasis on short-term results. Short-term performance is rewarded and long-term planning is slighted. In other words, we have become a country in all aspects of instant gratification. CEOs and all managers are responsible for planning. 3 different approaches are used to structure the planning function: a central planning department, a decentralized planning staff, and a planning task force. The central planning department is a traditional approach to corporate planning. Planning specialists develop strategic plans for the corporation as a whole. The planning approach is a top-down because objectives and plans are assigned to major divisions after approval by the CEO. A limitation of this approach is that planners lack detailed knowledge of the operating unit's capabilities, especially in very large organizations. The decentralized planning staff evolved when planners were assigned to major departments to help managers develop strategic plans. And the planning task force is a temporary group of line managers who are assigned the task of developing a strategic plan. The barriers in organizational planning is that planning is difficult due to a complex environment of uncertainty. Specific barriers interfere with the planning process. Some specific barriers might be the following. Delegation to staff specialists. Line managers must be involved with planning, and there must be a balance of input between line and staff in the planning process. Limited top management support. Without top management support, middle managers will not allocate time, money, and energy to do planning. Limited line management expertise. Line managers and planning specialists must combine their respective talents to develop strategic plans. So how do we overcome these barriers? Planning should start at the top. Top managers must support and be involved in planning. Use planning support staff. Planning experts can help line managers develop better plans. Encourage line management to participate. People support that which they help create. In summary, in this lesson we covered the overview of goals and plans, goals in the organization, criteria for effective goals, planning types and models, planning time horizons, organizational responsibility for planning, and barriers to organizational planning. This completes Lesson 3, and we'll have Lesson 4 for you in the very near future, talking about strategies. Thank you.